Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam 81, and I'm coming back to you again. This time, this article is from ABC News, and the title of the article says, "What Lies Ahead Following Oklahoma Opioid Judgment." This article is done by Geoff M. Associated Press, and this is about the opiate epidemic that's going on, that's sweeping Oklahoma. Oklahoma's $572 million judgment against Jonhson. Yes, I said that right. The same ones that make the baby powder, the same ones that have been sued in the past, because Johnson & Johnson powder leads to different forms of cancer. You don't believe me? Go look it up. Will likely be followed by more trials and legal settlements seeking to hold a drug company accountable for the U.S. opiate crisis that has ripped apart lives and communities. They make it sound good, don't they? Monday's ruling helped shape negotiations over roughly 1,500 similar lawsuits filed by state, local, and tribal governments, consolidated before a federal judge in Ohio. And as legal cases against the opioid industry accelerate, so do the concerns about how the money from victims or settlements will be spent. Following the questions and answers about the opiate crisis and what lies ahead. Question: why are so many governments suing over opiates? Answer: 48 states plus around 2,000 local and tribal governments have sued companies in the drug industry, arguing those that make, distribute, and sell the drug are partly responsible for a crisis that has killed more than 400,000 people across the country since 2000, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's including more than 47,000 in both 2017 and last year. The plaintiffs argued that drugs were improperly marketed and that companies failed to stop suspicious orders from shipping. Question: what's the financial toll of the crisis? The White House Council of Economic Advisors published a report in 2017 pegging the cost of the crisis at just over $500 billion in 2015. That includes the lost productivity as well as costs borne by taxpayers such as ambulance runs, jail treatment costs, and the cost of caring for children whose parents have died from opiate overdoses. Question: what are opiates and how are they used? Pretty much everybody's familiar with it. If you're not, I'm going to scroll slowly so that you will be able to read that. Okay, I'm going to start here if you haven't read this part. It says since the 1990s, there's been a push in the medical world, partly funded by drug companies, to do better at treating pain, and opiates came to be part of that solution. Question: what is the problem? Recent studies have questioned their effectiveness in chronic pain, and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has told prescribers to be cautious about using the powerful drug to treat patients with long-term pain. Experts say The longer patients are on the drugs and the higher dosage they receive, the more likely they are to develop an addiction. Also, more people with prescriptions mean more access to the drugs for recreational use in addicts. What happened leading up to the judgment in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma judgment? Oklahoma's public nuisance lawsuit against several drug makers and their subsidiaries was the first in the wave of opiate litigation to make it a trial. To make it to trial. Before the start of the 6-week trial in May, Oklahoma reached a $270 million deal with Purdue Pharma, the maker of oxycodone, and an $85 million settlement with Tivia, both of which face criticism from state lawmakers who argue they have the control over dispersing funds. The Purdue settlement calls for about $200 million to go into a trust to fund an addiction study center at the Oklahoma State University in Tulsa. The remaining defendants, Jonhson & Jonhson, and some of its subsidiaries, proceed to trial. Of course, they're going to take it to trial. What makes the case legally complicated? There are dozens of defendants and thousands of plaintiffs with different interests. State and local governments are battling over control of any settlement money before a national deal has been reached. In Oklahoma, the U.S. Centers for Medicine and Medicaid Services have told the state that the federal government is entitled to a portion of Oklahoma's proceeds from its settlement with Purdue. Several local governments refuse to participate in the lawsuit against Purdue so they can pursue their own, while others have criticized how most of the settlement money from the case is being spent. The opiate crisis began in the early 2000s. The death toll was rising there and was growing numbers of thefts, drugs from pharmacies in 2007. Purdue paid $634 million. They paid a $634 million fine and pled guilty to understanding that the addiction risks of the drug. But the crisis only deepened after the trial. Prescriptions flowed freely at pill mill clinics, especially in Florida, where drug dealers would get drugs and spread them around the country. And I'm going to scroll. And while I'm scrolling, I'm just going to talk. My condolences to anyone that has lost a family member due to drugs, opiates, and things like this. But as my friend Distinctly Dree would say, where did this selective outrage come from? I remember it being another epidemic, the crack epidemic, which started in 1985. From 1985, it continued to flourish between 1985 and 1990s and beyond. It was a drug of use. It spread to the Americas and then soon all over the country. Yes, we had the DARE campaign by Reagan. May he burn in hell for the things that he did under the guise of the DARE campaign. I was one of the ones growing up during the DARE program, and all the things that they claimed that they were doing and this, that, and the third, but it only got worse and worse. Now they want to sue drug makers and this, that, and the third. For that, they knew it was an addictive drug. It is a Schedule 1 drug. It is powerful. Between the 1970s and the 1980s, it was mainly used in its origin country, for things of that nature pertaining to, pain management or whatever the case was. But my thing is, where's the outrage for the millions and millions and millions of people that have died for the crack epidemic? I mean, now it's a problem. And again, I'm sorry, not sorry. Now it's a problem because middle class and upper class is getting addicted to it. You know, their kids are getting addicted to it. Their kids are, falling victim to the same outcome as it did for the poor and disenfranchised in the ghetto slash community slash projects slash hood slash slums, whatever you want to call it. There was no outrage to try to prevent this from happening. So, I mean, just reading this article, I'm like, okay, they suing and they're going to take the money, but are they really going to use the money to, quote unquote, help with drug treatment and this, that, and the third? Honestly, my opinion is about it, it's just a money grab. For real, they're just cashing in. I don't really think it's going to go and benefit the amount of people that it says that is trying to prevent or, help or whatever the case is. It's going to be the same old, and basically the city of Oklahoma, in my opinion, is just going to line their pockets and use it for other shit that don't have anything to do with drug abuse or whatever the case is. If it was a clear-cut thing about it, one of the stipulations would not have been to put 200 million of that money into a trust. Why would you need to put it in the trust when you sued for that much money? And how's the money going to be spent? What is it going to be spent on? Are we going to have outreach? Are we going to have better treatments? Are they going to do research to find better treatments? Are they going to go into their labs and, produce a counteraction drug to the effects of people that are addicted to opiates or crack or whatever other Schedule 1 drug that they may have a problem with in Oklahoma and worldwide? Are they going to do that? Likely, doubtful that they're going to do that. They're not going to take the initiative to do that. And that's just my opinion. And I would like to know what your opinion is. Please drop down in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share. Please don't forget to leave a like. I gotta say it again. Please leave a like. It helps out a lot, and I do appreciate it. From all my diamonds. Whether you're a big diamond, a little diamond, a clean diamond or a dirty diamond, we're all diamonds in our way, in our own right. So, until then, I am Madam 81, and I will talk to you guys later.